My entrance into the game began way back in the 70s, back in 1975. I was so shy that I couldn't go up and talk to girls. There was one girl I recall in my senior year of high school. I would walk by her house almost every day, getting up the courage to ask her to the senior prom. After months and months of walking by, doing the shy guy act, if I saw her on the grass, I would wave at her, smile at her. I finally got up enough courage to ask her to the senior prom. She said no. Why? Because I waited to the day before the prom. What an idiot. But I've learned a lot of things in the game since then. I realized I had a problem with my shyness, so I began reading books on how to pick up girls. It started with an article that I read in a magazine on something called a super seducer. And the way they described this guy, I wanted to become the super seducer in my life. I wanted to be able to walk into a nightclub and just pick up a girl that night and have her go with me within 10 or 15 minutes. After years and years of reading, I entered college and I started practicing. I would go to the library because I figured the smart girls were hanging out in the library. Well, I got the booby prize one time. I went into the library. There was a sister there sitting down, and I smiled at her, and I did the steps of the game as they described it. And I went up and talked to her. And I got my first date. She was my first girlfriend. She was also my first nightmare. After many years of being with this person, because she had tricked me into getting her pregnant, and we did, in the 70s, we did the old-fashioned thing. We got married if we got a girl pregnant. She was looking for a husband. After several years of being married, I decided, you know what, this isn't working for me. So I went back out into the game. I left my family, and I went back out into the game. And I realized I still don't know how to talk to girls. There I was out there trying to meet girls, but I didn't know anything about it. So I started studying again and reading books and reading books and reading and learning and applying. From the age of 26, 27, I started dating, and I would date multiple types of girls. Unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, because I was teaching fitness classes, I had ample opportunities to actually, without even trying anything in the game, just go get a date, because I was their fitness instructor, so the girls would admire me and they wanted to go out with me. So I dated lots of models, ballerinas, aerobic instructors, some of my customers, clients, and I never really evolved in the game back then because it was easy for me. I would go out to the nightclubs and start dancing because I was a great dancer. Through my years of teaching aerobics and studying dance, I learned to be a really good dancer. So I would go out there and I would just use my dance like a fisherman and just hook them in with that. In my 30s, I started dating a girl that was quite a bit younger than me. And I dated her for 8.5 years. And I went into my 40s. I still hadn't learned anything about the game yet, really. Because the information I learned from the 70s was body language. The first book on body language came out. I read Eric Weber's How to Pick Up Girls. And basically his advice was the same as my dad gave me. Just go up and talk to them. I remember going up to my father saying, "But Dad, how can I get them in bed?" His advice was, just go up and talk to them. Well, flash forward to years later, I was dating this girl for 8.5 years. I'm in my 40s. Suddenly, we break up. I didn't know what to do. I was still hitting the clubs. I was cheating on her because our relationship had went downhill, and I started, seeing other girls. I had gotten involved with a friend of mine. A guy came into my life and asked me to teach him the game. So one of the best ways to learn is to actually teach. So I got back into the game and started teaching him how to meet girls, and I taught him how to make love to women, because that's the one thing that I could always do the best, because I read books and books on how to make love to a woman, how to give her pleasure. There I was in my early 40s. No clue of how to go up and ask a girl even to dance. I would just get on the floor and they would come to me. So I had to develop the courage to go out there and actually step forward and ask a girl something simple as dancing, which was hard for me because I was incredibly shy also. Well, I had enough of that. I got on the internet and started researching, and I became across the Pimp Network. And I started learning from pimps because back in the 70s, I admired pimps. I used to want to be a pimp back in high school, like all the other kids. One of my buddies, his older brother was a pimp. And we always admired those guys because they had women, they had cars, they got everything they wanted. So I learned the art of pimping, and I got into the game briefly. Realizing I'm in my 40s, I'm too old to go to jail for some stupid shit. So I got out of that game and I jumped into what's called the Mac game. The Mac game is where you have women give you lots of money, lots of gifts. I've gotten cars. I've gotten about 5 or 6 cars. I've gotten cash. I've gotten cars, 5 or 6 cars. I've done trips. I've done so many things in the Mac game. Then I realized I'm getting too old for that too. I have my own business. I make my own money. I didn't need the money for anything. I just wanted the power. I wanted to learn how to have power over myself and people in my environment. When I got on the internet, I was called ZenMac, or I called myself ZenMac. Then I had evolved so far into the game, I changed my name because I got out of the Mac game, and I no longer went by Sacktown Pimp either, because I wasn't pimping. I changed my name to Player Supreme because I had evolved to the point where I could walk into any club anywhere in the world and leave with someone. I've been to Vegas and I've met women there. I've been to LA and I've met women there. I can go anywhere in the world, and if I choose to, meet anyone. So I changed my name to Player Supreme because I had evolved through all of my years of reading, and because this is over a couple-year period, reading every book I could get my hands on the internet. I've read most of the ebooks out there. I've tried things, stupid things, like put your name and phone number on a napkin with a message that says, I'm going to give you a unique compliment, just call this number. Stupid things like that. I've tried so many things in the game just to evolve into who I am today. And what I've learned over that time period, it's all about energy. I began realizing that it's time for me to start settling down. So I started looking and attracting to my life quality people that I wanted to spend my time with. I got out of the player game and realized I'm becoming a man now. I need to become more of a real man, which is what my show is about.